Okay, so today we're diving deep into a really significant book in modern religious philosophy. It's Alvin Plantinga's Warranted Christian Belief. You know, if you've ever been asked, so why do you believe in God? And you just felt, well, instantly cornered, like you needed hard science or some complex logic right then and there. This deep dive is definitely for you. Because Plantinga, he doesn't just play defense for faith, he kind of goes on the offensive. His central claim, and it's pretty daring, is that believing in God is just as natural, just as rational as believing, say, that the chair you're sitting on is real or that other people have minds. Okay, let's unpack this. What's the core concept Plantinga uses here? What's this special ingredient he talks about that turns simple belief into actual knowledge?
Right. That ingredient is what philosophers call warrant. So warrant is like the special sauce. It's what elevates a belief that happens to be true into genuine knowledge. Plantinga's argument is that for a belief to have warrant, it needs to be formed by our cognitive faculties functioning properly, working the way they're supposed to in the right kind of environment. And this leads him straight to this idea of a properly basic belief. His thinking is pretty straightforward on this. If God exists, well then, he likely designed us, our minds, so that believing in him is a natural response when things are working right. So belief in God doesn't necessarily need outside proof to be rational. It can be properly basic. It stands on its own, much like believing the world around you is real.
Wait, hang on a second. To someone just listening, that might sound a bit like self-justification. Is Plantinga just saying, well, it's true because I believe it's true? How does he get around the idea that this sounds, circular?
That's a key point. He sort of flips the script. What's fascinating here is how he takes on evidentialism. That's the traditional idea that rational beliefs must have empirical evidence or logical proof. Plantinga points out, look, we don't demand that for everyday things. You don't try to prove your eyesight works every single time you look at a tree, right?
Yeah.
You just trust it. So he argues the challenge should go the other way. Why should religious belief uniquely need that kind of proof when other basic beliefs we hold don't?
Okay, that really does shift the starting point, doesn't it? So if we accept this different framework for what's rational, where does he take it next? How does he connect this to specifically Christian belief? Because that seems like the next step, moving into theology.
Exactly. Yeah, he moves from just belief in God generally to Christian belief specifically. And he does that by bringing in his second key idea, the role of the Holy Spirit. He talks about something called the sensus divinitatis, basically an innate sense of the divine, which in the Christian context is heightened or confirmed by the Holy Spirit. Plantinga suggests the Spirit gives this internal assurance, a kind of knowledge that goes beyond just intellectual arguments, and that's what provides the warrant for Christian conviction.
Okay. But that does move things squarely into theology, right? How does he keep this feeling like philosophy when he brings in something like the Holy Spirit as crucial for warrant?
Well, because he's arguing from within the framework of Christian doctrine. His point is, if Christianity is true, then this mechanism, this awareness of God, prompted by the Spirit, is a properly functioning cognitive faculty. And importantly, if a faculty can function properly, it can also malfunction. And that leads to his third big insight, the problem of sin. He basically argues that sin messes with our reasoning. It acts like a broken compass. This cognitive malfunction, he says, is what explains unbelief, even if God is real and, his existence could otherwise be readily apparent.
Right. So thinking about this for you, the learner, what does this all boil down to? I mean, it's a pretty fundamental challenge to how we even think about knowledge. Plantinga gives this really strong intellectual footing. He famously says something like, belief in God is properly basic, just like believing other people have minds or that the past happened. You don't try to prove your friend has a mind every day, right? You just accept it as warranted. It's basic.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Plantinga isn't just trying to defend faith using history or science. No, he's carving out a space for faith right within the structure of rationality itself. Now, critics do point out fairly that it's dense stuff. He is writing for philosophers.
Yeah.
And yeah, the argument can feel a bit circular, assuming Christian truths to define the conditions for warranted Christian belief. But despite that, the intellectual framework he builds is, well, pretty powerful.
So the final takeaway here, warranted Christian belief offers some really solid intellectual grounding for faith. It challenges assumptions, maybe assumptions you didn't even know you had, about what needs proving. It makes the case that belief in God can be as natural, as rational, as, well, breathing. And maybe here's something to think about as you go through your day. If we accept that basic trust in our senses, our memory, is warranted just because they're working properly, how much of what you know do you just accept as properly basic without ever stopping to think about it? Makes you wonder, doesn't it?